Coming up on Cricket Safari, Salam Kheel, he was superb with the ball tonight, and boy oh boy did he help MI Emirates as well as MI Emirates batters. Wasim, they were clearly in a hurry tonight. And we are going to bait the catch of the season. Could it be MI Emirates again? Boy, were they the winners tonight. And what a matchup it was for them. Dominant again performance with both bat and ball, beating the Sharjah Warriors by 8 wickets. And a performance that the Sharjah Warriors will not be too pleased with. That is for sure some real work they have to do, hoping they'll play their next game with a full squad. Tonight was a bit of a worry for them. MI Emirates still sitting at the top of the table. Sharjah Warriors sitting in 4th place. And it's an interesting point of the DP World ILT20. Every match is so crucial, those points so important. I am joined by Natalie Germanos and Waka Yunus, and they've been trying to teach me how to bowl a knuckleball, not very successfully. But look, Nat, it was a heck of a performance by MI Emirates, or would you say a really poor performance from Sharjah Warriors?
All credit has to go to MI Emirates. Yes, they won the toss. There's no doubt that made a big difference. But I think also from the point of view of the Sharjah Warriors, they had so much going on before, didn't they? Obviously had to make a change of captain, change of 2 of their batters as well. And it's an area where they've struggled is the batting this season. So the fact that they've now had to make all these changes has really hurt them. And they just were never able to recover after what was really a mess in that middle order when they were batting.
So it's an interesting spot for MI Emirates to be in. They sit at the top of the table. They're doing incredibly well. They are about to have a huge change of personnel. A lot of their players are leaving to go to international duty. So how do you think they're feeling right now? I mean, every point's important, but particularly for them at this stage of the tournament.
Look, they're making sure that they're in the top 4 first, and they will also make sure with all these run rates and you know the informed players that they finish in the top 2. And they're very much there now. So I think this is definitely a team to watch. They've still got plenty good players sitting on the bench also, don't forget. So I don't think they're going to miss out a lot. But yeah, once you leave someone or if someone goes away who's in form, it always hurts.
So they win the toss here in Abu Dhabi and they decide to bowl first, a decision that was obvious to all. And boy, do they make hay while the sun shines. I start with their player of the match, who was simply superb with the ball. 3 for 18. It's hard to go past that when you are picking player of the match.
And Salam Kheel has actually picked up a wicket in every single game that he's played in this season. He picked up 3 tonight, which takes him to 9. Starting off with Mark Gale, then Lewis Gregory, and not long after that, Daniel Sams. Now, this is not a great shot from Daniel Sams. It's the first ball that he faces. So he'll look back on that and think, I should have done better with that. At least have a look in, especially because the team obviously wasn't in a good position. But definitely credit to Salam Kheel, who bowled beautifully.
They just didn't seem to recover at any point.
No. I mean, they did well to start off. First 4 overs went quite nicely. It's just when the spinners came on and, you know, new batters coming into the team, you know, 3 big batters, big names, they were out of the side. And then suddenly you have to deal with Salam Kheel, who's been bowling really, really well. And if you don't read him from the hand, you're just relying on your eyes and picking which way the ball's going to turn. It's too late by then that to, you know, put him under pressure. So he's taking advantage of that. He's got a great action. And, of course, I mean, players, so many good players are coming from Afghanistan, isn't it? The spinners, there's so many of them. And it's a great sign for them also and a great sign for the tournament.
If we keep moving through the bowlers, Akil Hussain with his 2 for 20 was superb also with the ball. And, you know, we've spoken a lot about him actually this tournament so far. He's done very well.
Yeah, he's picked up a 4 for in one of the games as well, which gave him the player of the match. What I do like is that he's able to bowl differently with a new ball. He swings the ball into the right hand. He uses actual swing with that newer ball. Then he comes back later and he's able to get a little bit of grip and turn as well. And he changes up, obviously, he changes up a little bit in terms of his tactics. And I think, Waka, when you look at his line and length, it just shows you why he's successful, isn't it?
Yeah, the advantage of bowling straight. You know, those stumps are there for a reason, and these spinners who have been successful, take Thikshan also, even, you know, before this game, you know, you bowl straight, LBW, bowled, and it put doubt in batter's mind that, oh, should I go for a shot or not, because it's landed in the line of the stump. So I feel, you know, if you got a good wrist spinner in your side, it always helps. They are the wicket takers.
It wasn't just the spinners tonight. If you look at, world cricket, T20 cricket, all the franchise cricket, Trent Boult has done an incredible job of individually taking care of his own performance for every team that he goes to now. And this season, he's improved remarkably in terms of wickets he's taken from season 1. He was brilliant again tonight.
Look, every time MI Emirates playing and we stand here, at the end, and we always talk about this man. If it is not the bowling, it's the fielding. He's always involved in the game. He's a great ambassador of any format. He's done extremely well in Test match cricket and now playing T20 cricket and bringing all his variations and all his experience and making his team proud.
Well, let's talk about those variations and that knuckleball you're trying to teach me. I'll work on that for later in the season. Don't worry, I'll surprise everyone. But if we look at, not now, not with the cameras on. But have a look here. Just talk us through the stock ball and the knuckleball here and the differences.
Look, his stock ball is very simple. He tries to just keep his fingers behind the ball and make sure the ball comes out straight and look to swing the ball back into the right-hander. That angle he bowls from the left arm angle. There is a blind spot to a batsman which is sort of 17 meters and on the legs and you lose the ball for a split second. And if you can swing the ball back into it, Shaheen Shah does it. All the left armers, most of them, the one who swings back, they are really, really wicket takers and no better than Trent Boult because he's got more variation than only those C movements.
If you're looking at that as a batter, how do you negate that?
Are you going to explain that?
Well, we were actually talking about this before, weren't we? And you said one of the keys with the knuckleball is to make sure that the seam still comes out upright because then you can't tell that it's the knuckleball.
Of course, you do want the seam to come down as straight as possible because what the batters are looking at is they're looking at the seam which way it's going to move. If it comes out scramble, that means there's a little bit of spin on it. The pace is taken off, and the arm speed sort of come a little slower because you sort of turning your wrist, and your arm speed has to be slow to do that. But for a knuckleball, I don't know how these guys do it, to be honest.
Do you want me to hold your mic?
No, that's fine. It's a bit like this. I mean, I can't even think of doing it, and with that arm speed, which Trent Boult bowls with this, and he breaks all that pace. He comes down at least 15 k lesser than his normal pace, and especially with the seam coming down, the batter think, oh, here is my opportunity because it's nice and full. You can see on the right, he's all ready, and watch that. The bat is gone. The ball is just came a touch late. All you need is a little bit of difference in your bat swing, and you're gone. And modern day cricketers, they all like to sort of go after the bowling, and if you don't pick it right, if you don't get it right, you're always in trouble.
Yeah, and look, let's be honest, Sharjah Warriors were in a bit of trouble tonight, and they certainly came off at the innings break with their tails between their legs. They were only going to be able to go one way, and that was to take wickets up front early. It was difficult to do that when Mark Watt had the first over he had.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Mark Watt has come into the side and he's actually been successful bowling with the new ball. It's something he's also accustomed to doing internationally. But tonight, he had absolutely no idea which length he needed to bowl. He was all over the place. He went short, he went a little bit fuller. They probably could have had a slip in place as well. There was an edge that went past slip, but they didn't get that right. Then he went down leg side. And Mohammad Wasim absolutely loved facing him in that over.
He certainly did, so there really was no surprise as well. He just bowled the one over tonight, but he'll struggle to watch that. He'll go and he'll look at it and he'll get better, but it was very tough for him. In terms of the batting of MI Emirates, we've talked so much about the strength of their bowling, but their batting actually, when it fires, and it did tonight with Wasim, helped by that over, of course.
Yeah, big advantage. I mean, the way Mohammad Wasim is playing with Kaushal, left hand, right hand, I mean, it is anyway very tough for the bowlers when their right and left hand are at the crease, and the kind of batsmen they are, they have no fear. They just like to swing their bats and not scared that they're going to get out. They have been given a license because they have got real length in their batting. There were plenty of batters, so they can play freely. And if they get going, that means the game is in the pocket, and that's exactly what there was no real pressure on them because there was very little small target to chase, and they were just, they blasted it.
Yeah, it's exciting to watch when two batters go hand in hand like they did tonight, he and Pereira. But if you look at them, their most runs the tournament, that green belt. I mean, that looks good, doesn't it?
Oh, him and Johnson Charles are also having a great battle, obviously, for the top runs. But Mohammed Wasim himself picked up the blue belt last year for the best UAE player. And now he's got a real chance to pick up that green belt because of, obviously, the incredible form that he's in.
It's so great to see. Let's talk about Pereira. He was extremely explosive at the top of the innings as well. And once you've got two going at both, I mean, no wonder Sharjah Warriors sort of ended up walking off like they did, because it must be very hard when they're on fire like that.
Look, I played against a batsman called Sanat Jayasuriya in the 90s. A very similar batsman to Koshal. You know, really swings the bat really hard and picks the length very, very early. Get into position very early. If you don't get them early, then they'll get you. And the best way to get them is probably ball fuller and try to swing the ball back into them, because they swing it so hard. If they miss, at least you have chance. But today there was nothing in the surface. There was no real swing. So it was kind of a treat for him.
Let's talk about MI Emirates skipper Nicholas Pooran. He's having a good time, isn't he?
He's an incredible T20 batter, and I think sometimes, in a way, I think people sort of don't actually credit him well enough for how good he is in this format, because he's good against pace and he's good against spin as well. I don't think they bowl particularly well to him necessarily, but he's so destructive that once he gets going, it's very hard to stop. Even somebody like Tichenor couldn't stop him either. Saw him play in innings in America last year. That was sensational. 137 undefeated he made in that innings, and it was just incredible hitting.
When he have no pressure, he's the most dangerous batsman around. I tell you, there was no pressure on him today. You could see clearly that his bat swing, and he was angry, and he was playing freely, and that's what we know. I've seen him many times playing that, but because he's got this burden of captaincy, so sometimes he's got to be a little watchful, careful. Otherwise, once he plays like this, you're in trouble.
Major, major trouble. Now, we've talked about batting, we've talked about bowling. What of the fielding in the DP World ILT20? Let's take a look at some of our best catches so far.
Brilliance in the field is a hallmark of DP World ILT20, and the players aren't letting us down in Season 2. Here's our pick of the top 5 catches of the tournament so far. Our first stunner is from match number 2, a diving effort superbly snagged by Dubai capital Sam Billings to account for MI Emirates' Will Smeed. Next up, MI Emirates pace ace Trent Bolt's catch to get rid of Basil Hamid of the Sharjah Warriors. A bolt from the blue, you could say. That man Billings is back again. This time it's the golf giant's James Vince left agape as Superman Sam jumps to take a great catch at long off. A true catch of the season contender at the Dubai International Stadium as the Desert Vipers' Ali Nasir takes this blinder at gully to get rid of MI Emirates danger man Nick Pooran. A superb effort helping the Vipers to a much needed win. And then the incredible athleticism of MI Emirates' Trent Bolt is on display yet again as he takes a one-handed stunner to send poor Laurie Evans back to the pavilion. Five catching gems. Stay tuned for more to come throughout the tournament.
Okay, so what's going to happen now is I'm going to let these two go at it. I'm going to let them have a real debate about what catch they prefer and what they think the best is so far. And Nat, ladies first.
Oh, thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. No, you're welcome.
That's not fair, is it?
For me, Ali Nasir actually is the one that I thought was probably the best catch because it's come to him really quickly to start off with. Obviously, there's a bit of pressure from, it is Nicky Pooran as well, but it's just the awareness to move into the right position, do it quickly, the reflexes of it. I think Ali Nasir for me at the moment is
All right, let's have a little look at it here.
That has come really, really quickly.
It was so fast.
And he's horizontal as he takes that. He's standing in the inner ring there. It comes very quickly at that stage. It's also hard sometimes to pick it up off that angle. It's hard to pick it up in the field. I'm going Ali Nasir.
Okay, so that's yours, Waka. Now, I know that you love Billings, but you can have his second catch. That we'll talk about the one on the boundary. Talk us through that and why that you think this is the best.
Look, the second one is not as good as the first one. Come on, you know, this was brilliant. I mean, to balance himself after catching that, he literally caught that one behind his head, and the game awareness or the awareness where the boundary was. Watch that. Look at that. And then he had to really put pressure on his knees, calves, the hamstrings and thighs and all of that, and to just, grab it and control himself. And that was a wonderful catch. But that's not my number one catch. My number one was the one he took in the slip, where he had to really catch behind himself.
Yeah.
He had to really dive to his right. It was a reflex catch, and that was brilliant. But yeah, don't take anything away from Trent Bolt. I know you're a New Zealander. You're not going to like it, of course.
Love it.
I can
There's a reason it's
understand that.
number one. Let's go the opposite end of the spectrum. And there's been a couple of shockers in the field. And there was a wee drop today that let's hope it's not playing in the dressing room right now. Nat?
Yeah, absolutely. This is one that he'd be very disappointed with. It was a little skyer. Had to just get into the right position, take a couple of steps forward, stand still, and just grab it. It seemed just really actually seemed like a foregone conclusion.
Waka, I feel like that's the kind of one you owe the whole team a couple of drinks after that or something, because that's just one you shouldn't be dropping, right?
I hope he's not watching this and not listening us talking, because his own teammates didn't like the whole scenario, the way he dropped it. His hands were there. And when it's kind of a windy day, you can't do that. You're basically losing this bit of the catch, and normally you can take it because it was like kind of a dolly catch. But when it's windy, when it's moving around, you got to make sure that you keep your hands above your head, in front of your eyes, rather than sort of taking it so low.
And the other thing, when you're fielding under lights, some of the lights here, this one's not so bad, but at Dubai International Stadium, I reckon if it goes up in the lights, I don't know how they keep eyes on it, those ones that go particularly high. It is incredible. We've got some great athletes.
You can't give excuse, though, for the lights here, though.
Well, no, not here. I wasn't trying. I certainly couldn't give it for him for that. Guys, thank you so much. I love you. I'm grateful for your time tonight. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're taking a look at Super Saturday, the big matches coming up in the DP World ILT20. Welcome back to Cricket Safari, Zayed Cricket Stadium, Mumbai, MI Emirates, absolutely, oh my God, what a start to the show. Here we go, where are we, what are we doing? We might as well have been in Mumbai tonight, actually. The noise was massive for MI Emirates as they absolutely dominated against the Sharjah Warriors. Hooey! It's late here in Abu Dhabi and I've been here a while. So as you can see there, an 8-wicket victory. Boy, oh boy, the Sharjah Warriors have some work to do at this point in the tournament. Putting up a performance like that, you could see how disappointed they were at the end. I am a lucky girl tonight to be joined by Alan Wilkins and Simon Dool, and I know that they will not let me live that down. So here they are now. Look, we'll go get me out of here. Yeah. Talk me through your predictions tonight.
Well, I actually thought that the Wankhede Warriors... is that what you said?
Where are we, Alan? We're in Abu Dhabi, Alan.
I know.
The Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah, we've all been there. One of those horrible nights, isn't it?
Yeah.
You lose your captain. He's not well. There was a sort of a ruffle of feathers in the box. They were late coming out for the toss. Yeah. Lewis Gregory is a captain. He captains a lot of teams in England, but this was a side that was ill prepared, and it looked it.
It certainly felt that way, but you have to say, though, that MI Emirates were particularly dominant in all facets, except for that one drop catch.
Yeah, they didn't allow them to play well, and yes, you have a reshuffle in the ranks. You lose 3 key batters. I think that's one of the key things for the Warriors. Those shorter runs. I can't blame the bowlers. I can't have a bad word about the bowlers. When you've got a low score on the board, the opposition come out, they want to get the job done quickly. No fault of the bowlers from the Sharjah Warriors tonight. They just didn't have enough on the board. It was probably 170, 180 surface. Maybe that wasn't even going to be enough. So you just look at the batting performance. It was below par, but that MI Emirates bowling attack is outstanding. And they're getting the job done time and time again. Yeah. Quality spinners, good seam bowlers. It's a very difficult side to play.
Yeah, and they got 2 of the finds of the tournament in Faruqi and Salamkil. I mean, 2 local boys who are really... the absolute gold for this team.
And you can see why they're top of the table, absolutely no doubt. Speaking of a table, now we've got a little competition inside the competition, which is with our wonderful commentators. They all predicted MI Emirates would get the win tonight. Darren Ganga, how is he doing this?
I think there's something wrong there.
Is it?
I was top of the table.
Yeah.
I think somebody's pressing the wrong buttons there.
Are you sure?
You're forgetting who you voted for, Alan.
Look, it's tough out here, guys. It's really tough. But at the moment, Darren, how are you going to knock him off his perch?
We'll find a way. But I'm in the playoffs at the moment. But yeah, look at that.
Speaking of playoffs, things are looking very interesting here. Sharjah Warriors still hanging in there, but it's an important time in this competition as we reach the back end of it. We've got some huge matchups tomorrow, and the first one we need to talk about is the Vipers taking on the reigning champs, the Golf Giants, and they have not been the Golf Giants that we remember from season 1, Simon Dull.
Two finalists from last year sitting at the foot of the table at the moment. So it tells me a couple of things. The tournament is better. I think the standard has gone up a little bit, and the Golf Giants have just been behind the 8 ball a touch. The Vipers expected more from them, especially with that influx of Pakistan influence and Shaheen Shah Afridi. We thought he'd win them games with the ball. Hasn't been able to do that as yet. Has won them one with the bat. The Giants just haven't quite been at their best. You talk to James Vince, you hear from him time and time again. We're just not quite getting it right like we did last year. Standard is better. You've got to up your game. They haven't done it yet. So, you know, the team that loses tomorrow, I'm not saying they're definitely out of it, but they're going to struggle to make the top 4.
Mohamed Amir is a player that we'll all be watching tomorrow. What do you like about him?
He's trying to do something every ball. He's trying to get a wicket with every ball. I love that. I love his attacking mindset. I love the way he bowls. He's, as I say, he's a wicket taker, and he's going to be bowling to the likes of Chris Lynn, James Finch, Jordan Cox. They've got a lot of batting. They've got plenty of batting, but I like Mohamed Amir. And at the moment, they've also got Luke Wood. But they've got, as Dooley said, Shaheen's not doing it with the ball. And there's some technical reasons for that. But I love the way Mohamed Amir, love it. He'll get 1 or 2 out tomorrow.
Yeah, you like watching him go about his business. We come back here again to Zayed Cricket Stadium for the next matchup, which is match number 20, and it is ADKR taking on the Dubai Capitals. And this is an interesting one. The Knight Riders, they look so much better than last season, Dooley, and it's great for this competition, isn't it?
Yeah, they've been better. I thought they were looking very similar in game number 1, game number 2. They just looked a little bit lacklustre, but they've actually found something on the back of Dre Russ's performance. Narayan was much better in the last game. I just got to find Sunil Narayan. He's got to get into the game. For me, when he's in the game, when he's taking a little bit of control, I don't know that he's the inspirational captain you might need off the field, but on the field he can lead with the ball, and that's what I'd like to see him do more of. But they do have a slightly better looking outfit. Obviously, you know, the way they performed has been much better than last year. They've got to win this one as well, I think.
Is there a run shop on the way from Dubai to Abu Dhabi? Is David Warner going to stop off there? Just
I thought you said a run shop.
Run! Cricket, we're talking cricket. Run! David Warner wants to buy a few runs.
He would well, they won off the last ball last night in Dubai. It was quite the matchup. I didn't stop at the rum shop on the way home, and neither did David Warner, I don't think. But these types of wins are so important for the confidence in the team, and boy, oh boy, did they need that victory.
Absolutely right. I mean, you know, Davey Warner's fantastic. He inspires. He's short of runs himself, but you know, again, it's a side that's just not clicking, and it's about finding form early, and they haven't, and he hasn't got any runs.
No,
that's
no,
why I'm asking about that shop down the road.
Yeah. Well, I'd like the other shop that you were talking about as well. Dooley, do you think we can see him get some runs before he leaves this tournament?
I think he'd love to. I think his captaincy's been on point. The way he talks about the tournament has been on point. The only thing he's missing is the runs. He needs some.
Maybe tomorrow. We have so much more cricket to come in the DP World ILT20 Super Saturday tomorrow. Do not miss it. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.